Aftercare After Dark is intended for mature audiences. If you're under the age of 18, we would ask you to leave this broadcast immediately and patiently await your formal invite to the grown folks table. We sometimes discuss topics that can be triggering for some. Please refer to the show's notes for episode-specific trigger warnings and resources. Thank you for listening.
So we're going to be talking about our weekend. This past weekend, Yolanda came all the way from New York to Seattle for our very first Seattle Fetish Ball. It took a whole year of organization for this wonderful group of people to organize this event together. I think we had a great time, but I'm more interested in listening to Miss Yolanda's point of view, how she felt. This was her first fetish lifestyle event, I suppose we could call it, because those
Um,
munches don't count.
Might just don't count. Well,
Munches
this was
don't
my
count.
first event. It was my first event. I was excited. We had a countdown. We were like 4 weeks to go, 9 days to go, 3 days to go. Oh my God, one more wake up and we're there. So there was all of this anticipation. So the fetish ball, for those who are listening, was an event, party, celebration, fashion show, drinks, dancing for leather lace, latex enthusiasts.
Fetish enthusiasts.
Fetish
fetish
enthusiasts.
fetish enthusiasts. Yeah, it was their first lifestyle event. It was just a ball, a place for people to dress up, to go to, dance, take pictures. There were performances. There were some wonderful performances, and there was some wonderful like fetish wear being modeled on the catwalk and runway. Drinks. It was just like overall a great time. And it was like my highlight of the evening was just watching you enjoy yourself.
Okay, so let's rewind. We're in the hotel room. We're getting ready. We're doing our thing. And this is the thing that like I didn't have growing up. Like I didn't have sleepovers. I didn't have getting ready for event time with anybody really. Not as a teenager. Like my first year in the Marine Corps, we had some of that girly time, very specific and very rare. It wasn't a thing that I did on a regular basis. I never wore makeup until after 40. So the theatrics of getting ready, having the music on in the background, dancing and putting on our clothes and struggling with our looks and then be like, oh my God, you're so cute. And oh my God, you're so cute. Oh my God, you're so sexy. Like whatever. Being half naked and comfortable around each other. I've never had that as a teenager. I didn't have that as a teenager. My first experience getting ready was boot camp. That was my first experience. Mass girls getting ready for anything was boot camp, and that wasn't fun. The latent teenage angsty thing, like yeah, I was like, oh, this is the party. This is the pre-party, right? This is before we step out the door. We're having a good time, right? And being very playful with each other. So I like thoroughly enjoyed the get ready time where we're, you know, making adjustments to each other and yay or nay on look one or look two or, what pasties we were wearing if we were wearing pasties. Thank goodness I threw mine on because that was a requirement. They didn't say that. So I was gonna go sheer without the cover up. And thank goodness for being a little prudish. First impressions, I was so excited. So excited. Everyone was so beautiful and so pretty. Everybody had, I like intention, I like effort, I like creativity. And most of the participants that I noticed stood out. Even the basics were shiny in black, right? Like just shiny in black. Those are your basics, but still shiny and stand outish because we're wearing latex, we're wearing leather, right? But the girlies, for the most part, who were in color, that was my whole universe. Seeing bright blue latex. I was wearing blood red. You were wearing bright red. There were standouts in the crowd, and people who gravitated towards each other because we were wearing color. I thought that was interesting too. The expression was if you showed out, you were going to get noticed and people were going to talk. I was the dragon lady for the night because of my dragons. I had my helix in with the dragon. So like it was a complete look and themed and people got it, right? If you know, you
Mhm.
know. You could hear the conversation, you could see the looks. So that was my first impression. You?
I'm a little desensitized to these things, but I definitely like don't see enough rubber dolls. at the parties and things that I go to, obviously, because it like you saw at the event how much effort you can imagine just how much effort it takes to squeeze into a full rubber latex suit. And there were like people with masks and horns and latex dog hoods. It was just, I loved it. I love one of my favorites was just like the men in corsets. There's just something about men in corsets that just does it for me. That just does it for me. I loved the tall freaking horned black shiny oh my goodness, black shiny devil. But yeah, no, the women brought it. The women brought it, right? But the men brought it too. That was my favorite part is watching the men's costumes. I loved the women's costumes. Women are always beautiful to look at, but you seldom see men put effort into their style, you know? And that I enjoyed very much.
There were a couple of kilted men, including someone we saw a couple of nights ago. And the funny thing is, he has a memorable face. So, stands out in a crowd anyway. But if you told me they were the same person in demeanor, I would be like, no, that's his twin brother or something like that. No, like
Mhm.
the whole energy of a person can change with the right clothes, with the right presentation. I didn't notice him until he started singing at karaoke. So it was the voice, and I would have not noticed him at all, if he didn't get up on stage and sing, right? At the party, didn't talk to him really, but noticed because he showed up and showed out. Like
Yeah.
it was a look. I was also impressed by the men, but like the funny thing is 90% of the men were hooded or masked. It should be that way
Mhm.
all the time.
Yes.
It should be that
There's like
way.
there's so many highlights to the evening. There's so many highlights to the evening. I loved the burlesque performers. I have a massive crush on I can't remember her names, but it's like Banbury Cross, which is like the redhead lady. Whew. And then Sydney Devereaux was the tall Amazon. That lady, that
You know how I feel about you know how I, like the funny thing is
that
with
lady.
men, I don't care how tall you are, but give me a tall lady. Like, look down on me, lady, okay? Put me in my
Hmm.
place, all right? I like them tall and statuesque, and it doesn't matter size. It's like presence, right? Like just like take up space, take up space.
Hmm.
And that was another thing. So I've been in a ton of like formal events where women are dressed up, but there's something about the female energy where most of the women there were shoulders back, head tall, head straight, men on leashes. like, like
Talk
there's
about
something.
how many men you saw on leashes that night.
I was like, I want one. I kept saying that. I was like, oh, I want one. Yes, men on leashes, men not speaking first, men deferring. I think sometimes it's taken as weakness. I don't see it that way. I see like if you let your woman shine, like and shine in the light that she is, I have a respect for that because it's hard as a man, right? You're from a young age, you were told to assert yourself. You are told to put yourself forward. You're told to take up room. But I found that one, most of the men stood behind their ladies, even if they weren't leashed. They stood behind their ladies and they let their ladies lead. The chatter of the room was woman's talk. It was amazing. It was amazing. Women were on stage. Women were security women. They were security. So there were plenty of men at the event, but I did not feel like it was a man's event. It felt like it was a woman's night. It felt like ladies' night. And it wasn't about numbers, because I'm pretty sure the numbers 65-35, if listen,
Mhm.
I'm a dork. I pay attention to these things. 65-35. So it was a little lady heavy, but it was more about women holding court. That's it. When you saw groups of people, even if it was a mixed bunch, it was the women holding court. It was the women talking. So we were on the balcony. We got to look down all of the glory because we could see down everybody's outfits. So like
I
we're
was
like,
I was I was so happy that we landed balcony tickets, that we were able to scrounge up some balcony tickets because those were a lifesaver. Because I wore heels that night. All the performers came up. All the performers came up to the balcony, which, afforded you the opportunity to on one of them.
I ruined her makeup. I ruined her makeup.
Such a
Yeah.
lovely compliment.
Yes, I had a great time. I had a great time. I got to flirt. I got to realize that I have spent most of my life not wanting anyone to pay any attention because it's always been a work situation when I'm out front, right? I have responsibility. I have to lead. I have pressure. I have stress. I spent most of my social life kind of not wanting to be out front because it felt like work to me. This was something different. I was like, oh, I want attention. I like attention. I'm getting attention. Like I was reveling in it. I was like, oh wait, I'm allowed to like this. I'm
Mhm.
allowed to enjoy this. I'm allowed to relax into whatever attitude that I have. And like quite literally it was haughtiness. I think that was coming off of me. I was just like, like
Oh yeah, you
walking
stood
around
out.
here.
You stood out like a sore thumb. You stood out like a sore thumb. You just like walked around and just everyone just immediately, which leads us to our highlight of the evening for you. Everybody just noticed you, right? Because like we came in pair. We came in as a couple.
Yeah.
We came in as a throuple before the puppy took off. But like we came in, these two ladies. You were definitely like my date, and I was definitely like the femme for the evening. And so just like we immediately just like stood out, and then everybody stood out. And it was just like so wonderful because like the women were giving compliments left and right. They were just stopping you in your tracks and just complimenting you. Like, no, I don't think I had, I could probably count on three fingers how many men has stopped and said something to me, but it was all women. And I'm going to tell you, like, I live for the compliments from the women, for the
Because
admiration.
they take note of the little things, right? So like I had a cuff on that was also drag, but you couldn't see it unless you were paying attention to it. And they were like, women pay attention to these details. They pay attention to the whole thing. And so getting those compliments, someone is seeing you. It's not, I don't know, like I had a ball like a ball.
Let's talk about the lowlights.
Oh yes, so the low light music. I wanted to dance.
Yes.
I wanted to dance, and the mood for the evening was kind of like emo. But I'm
Rave,
an emo girl, but it was rave music that,
EDM,
yeah,
EDM.
but it wasn't even good EDM, like not dancing. Like I wanted to dance. I wanted to dance. There was nothing to dance to unless you are like a big early aughts, because it wasn't 90s house music. If it was 90s house music, I would have been down there. Dun, 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 dun.
Mhm.
I would have been down there, but it wasn't, it was like early aughts. I don't know, noise. It
I didn't
wasn't,
like it.
yeah, I didn't like it
I
either.
didn't
So
like
that
it.
was it. That was it. That was my only complaint with music. The low for me was music.
Yeah, I think I share that same thing too, because like I love to dance, I love to move to music, but that music did not inspire me. Did not inspire me to move at all. Our favorite highlights, memorable moments, quotable moments, things that are still resounding in your head to this very day.
Yolanda's blushing. Yolanda's blushing. I remember being fascinated by like old black and whites. The very first films, and I'm a film buff, but the very first films were and or considered X-rated, but naked ladies, but ladies, the art of dancing to undress, the tease, the seduction, the anticipation, the rhythm changes. There's an art to it. You have to think about your performance. You have to think about the choreography. You really work to tell a story as you are undressing. So like I love burlesque. We got to see some good burlesque while we were there. So that was
Mm.
great. So I went downstairs to take a turn of the room and to check out the 360
Camera bot thing.
Yes, camera bot thing. Someone was talking about me. They were talking about the dragon lady as I, walked past. And so I walked past, checked the camera thing out, and came back into the middle of a conversation. And the man of the group, one of the few unmasked man, but like, pleasant, pleasant. He had a top hat. I don't know if you remember, but he had a top hat, vest, corset. But, I guess he was talking about what he would like to do to me. And his sub, one of the few sub ladies, was like, "Oh, she is not to be taught." I was like, it made my whole night. I was like, "Yes, we shall not be taught. No, we shall not." Like, I was walking around like there is something about like putting on a face. I had a very dramatic eye and holding that, like I don't even know if it's out of character, but it is one of my moods. It's just like I'm surveying, I'm observing, I am unconcerned, like and unimpressed with everything, even though I was very impressed and very concerned. So I was walking around in one attitude. Inside, I'm like, oh my God, it's like Christmas in here. I need to do this more often. I do need to do this more often. I need to be out. I need to have fun. I need to, well, very much pull my hair back, but like do the thing where I get to show off my clothes. I get to show off my body. I get to be in community with like-minded people. I get to explore. And the funny thing is this is not vanilla, right? But if you put me in the same room and everybody was just wearing street clothes, I don't think I would have had that great of a time. There's something about intentionally putting your gear on, squeezing into pants. Like, I had a very thick, wide belt, buckling in, quite literally buckling in and holding that. But I don't wear heels. So like I have heels. I just don't wear them. All of my heels have clean bottoms, clean soles because they are for making an entrance, taking a photograph, and then taking them off. I always have flats or something else to wear for the rest of the night. Those are just appearance. They're just for show. So I wore my boots.
Yeah, I meant to take my little handbag and have flats in it, but I'm glad I didn't because the puppy was absolutely useless that evening.
The stray, as you like to call them. Okay, so listen.
Straight. I was getting annoyed because y'all kept calling him his owner. He kept calling
He's
me
your
his
friend.
master. He kept calling me his owner and kept calling me his master. And I'm just, you're unclaimed. You are unowned. I have no desire to put my name to you because I gave him instructions and he didn't even last 2 seconds.
Go into the instructions. Go into the instructions. What was their assignment, his assignment for the night?
Okay, so just kind of backtracking a little bit. I've known this gentleman for 15 years and I invited him out. He's fresh out of divorce, invited him to this party. And so he wore leather vest, leather chaps, little booty shorts, and a puppy mask. So he was supposed to be our escort and our guard dog. He was supposed to be our service, our working dog for the evening. And so the instruction was bearing. People can talk to you, but you just pretend like they're not there. Your job is to quite literally serve your ladies, serve your mistresses for the evening, to be at our beck and call, get our drinks, hold our purses if need be. Your job is to serve us, right? Just you're there, you're working dog. You're there to have my six. You're there just to cater to us. It didn't even last past the front door.
No. It really
It
didn't.
just
I was
didn't.
like, I thought we had like
Sense
I
of
thought
effort. There was zero effort at all
like
whatsoever.
not even 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes. We got to the door, we took our photographs. Thank goodness we got the photographs first because off to the races, just out in the wild. I was like, we just had like you only have one job.
So I think he accompanied us upstairs, got us our first round of drinks, and then took off. But yeah, no, it was just funny. So that was like when y'all kept trying to like, you have to understand words like master and owner and mistress. That needs to be consented to. I have to agree to be that for you, and I have to agree to be called that by you. We never agreed to that. That was never discussed. And so like he didn't realize it at the time. The only reason why those ladies were interested in him the way he did was because he name dropped me. Because the minute they name dropped me and they saw who I was, they started with they started with him because like they came over. Is this your puppy? I was like, he's unclaimed, I unowned. I don't want him. That's when they started with him. So yeah, tell us a little bit about your point of view seeing this puppy being
Not
taken
mine either.
advantage of and
Not mine.
degraded.
I just met this person. Just met this
watch this
person.
watch this interaction of degradation by a completely vanilla person in just a room full of ladies. That was my
Oh,
highlight, is watching that interaction.
but the funny thing is he enjoyed every minute of it. He was looking it up. So they had him on his knees. They told him he talked too much because he does. They told him he talks too much because he does. I was there. I like, so I was in front of him to make sure that he was okay because this is his first event as well. So, and he's a vanilla guy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
he's a vanilla guy. He's never been mistreated, let's say. He considers himself a dominant as far as sex is concerned. So I got down to eye level with him as he was being spanked. As he was being did he get some lashes? Did he get whipped?
He
He
got
did get whipped.
whipped.
He got whipped, sat on, verbal abuse. I'm there eye level with him, asking if he's okay, if this is okay for him, if he's uncomfortable, whatever. And so doing the check-in part, which needs to happen, but he loved every minute of it. He was so excited. He was so excited. And even though he tried to play it off like, oh, like I'll come out again if invited. I want to see his search history for the last 48 hours. I want to see what he went home to look, because the attention he like the funny thing is that anonymous, right? Nothing comes through, fully masked, can't see anything, and it's dark inside of the venue, so no lightings, and was told to shut the up more than once. So it wasn't his personality, it wasn't his looks, it was the subservient attitude that he was supposed to take that was garnering him the attention. And the fact that he's a large dude, he's a very tall dude, distinctively tall dude. So this was the thing that was bringing him attention, name dropping, being seen with the two of us. That's what's getting him the attention. But he thinks that it's him, and it's not him. It's the lovely ladies escorting him. Everyone wanted to know who he belonged to. You disowned him. You just
I was like, unclaimed, unowned. I don't want that undisciplined mutt.
zero dis.
As soon as like, I want nothing to do with this guy. He knew that all of those things weren't allowed. The spanking and the whipping. He knew that all of that stuff was not allowed. He knew that we were going to get in trouble by the security team, and so he also knew that he could indulge in 10 minutes of fuckery before somebody called the stops to it. And so guess what? He just went overboard. There was that part where he was like freaking tipping because the
Mm-hmm.
ladies were making him, because the ladies were absolutely like extorting him, and he like ate it up. And then there was a part when like we got into spanking, and then it moved to like whipping. I was like, and then the guy came out to it because the woman started whipping and then switched it to a guy. You could see the parts where he was uncomfortable and he wasn't too thrilled about the guy whipping him, but he just like didn't say anything because the girl was sitting on him. He's like, he liked it. He liked it because saying something would get rid of this woman sitting on him. And it's just that right there goes to show like male privilege in the play space, because women don't do that. They don't indulge the curiosities like that recklessly, at least most women, because it's like, you don't know this person, you're about to whip me. I don't like, you're about to whip me. I've never had a conversation with you before. I
Yeah.
don't even know your name. He definitely got a little reckless, and I just like made sure I kept an eye on him, make sure nobody was going to go overboard, but he definitely got a little bit of a licking on his ball sack. And he was like, oh no, that was not cool. Like, yeah, don't play around with people you don't know.
Yeah.
Don't play around with people you don't know.
I made out with a performer, one of the performers that came up. Lovely, lovely, lovely woman.
Serena also calls herself a dragon lady.
Yes. So we were talking about that because I don't like unicorns. I would rather be a dragon. So we got into a conversation and then like everyone turned makeup and
Yeah, I want to know the lead up to that because my gay radar is obviously not great. And so I was just like 1 second having a conversation. I look away or I walk away and I look over and you're over here sucking face. So like,
um
what was the build up to that?
she complimented me on my outfit. And like she was done up to the nines. She had feathers and a cape and stage performer, all of the makeup. So, I can do minimalist to the max, right? So nothing I wear is particularly flashy, but structure, color, like all of those things I'm very conscious of. I wasn't wildly dressed. I was this plus the belt plus those shiny, shiny pants, right? If you deconstruct it that way, no. But she told me I was a mood. She told me I was a vibe. She told me it was beautiful. It was like, I feel the same way about you. And yeah. Then we were making out. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. We exchanged numbers. I'm thinking to myself, like we're we're not drunk, but we are a little tipsy, a little heady, whatever, whatever. This could be, nothing, whatever, whatever, whatever. But I got some texts. I got some texts. So I've made a new friend. I'm excited. I'm excited.
That was definitely my highlight of the evening. Was
Yolanda having
watching
face.
you eating face.
The audacity. I found some audacity that
And it's well placed.
yes. I found my audacity and I was like, okay, yeah, yeah. So, and the funny thing is that after the dismal December that that I had and the hard January that I had, like I didn't lose any confidence, but sometimes you just don't feel very shiny. You don't feel brilliant. You feel like a little dull and a little faded, or at least I do. And this was like, okay, no, no, I'm still me. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm gonna be fine. I got to flirt with a lot of women, which I don't get to do very much of because I have terrible gaydar. I have terrible, terrible gaydar. But this was the place, right? This is the place where people are more fluid, more open. You're not going to get shut down for gender. You're going to get shut down for piss poor attitude, like, or like, you know, not having a personality. You're not going to get shut down because
Of the way you
uh,
look.
of the way, yeah, like it's just that it wasn't the place for that. It was the place for compliments. And you gave compliments. I gave compliments. We went up to people and said, oh, look at you. Like, like that kind of community, making each other feel special, that goes miles, miles. And a very like I made out with a beautiful, beautiful woman. I'm like, oh yes,
I
I'm gonna
guess
get my girlfriend. I'm gonna get my
I
girlfriend.
guess I guess I've gotten used to flirting with women. I just don't realize that I'm actually flirting. Because like every time I had to like cut in front of a woman because there were lines and we had to like cut through the lines to get to the other side. So every time I squeezed past a woman, I would like face her and just be like, I just wanted an excuse to say hi to you and tell you that you're beautiful. As I'm like sliding past her, just like all the girls, all the women were just like blushing and fanning and fawning. It was like, oh my God, I love your dress. I love your hair. So that was the highlight of my evening. There were so many highlights. There was like the dress, the people, the beauty of it, the performances, watching you suck face, watching you enjoy yourself, watching watching him get degraded.
The funny thing is that like we had an interesting weekend together because it was three of us for most of the weekend, right? We had an interest.
All right.
Interesting dynamic. The one
So
thing, the credit that I can give your friend, the credit that I can give your friend is that very affable. Like we'll go up, we'll talk, we'll join in, we'll introduce. Like I had a great time. I like great time.
yay. All right. Let's roll right into our weekend because we've got some time to chat about it. So yeah, right off the plane, what's going on? Let's talk about how Yolanda felt just coming straight off the plane.
Like coming straight off the plane. What like so you told me to be ready. So I was dressed already in casual as I get. I don't get terribly casual, but I had sheer shirt, sheer bra, plaid, right? Because we're in Seattle.
Hmm.
and I'm,
Hmm.
I'm like, so we went to karaoke, and that was amazing too. That was amazing too. The thing about G, the thing about your friend S, thing about me, we're all Marines, and I did not know this. And now, or maybe I did know this, but I didn't. I'm so used to being in spaces where there are multiple Marines, where we are in a group of Marines, so like three, four, in a room full of other like civilians. That's something I've never seen before. So I was very interested in that interplay. We did not spend a lot of time together because you had responsibilities as a leader of the munch. I was doing my thing where like I'm observing the whole thing, participating, but also trying to gather as much information as I can. And S was doing S and talking to everybody, right? Or talking to everybody he was interested in talking to. So we weren't in the same physical space for much of the night. We came together, we moved apart, we came together, we moved apart. I was very interested in how much we all stood out, like in that room full
Just
of people,
individually, just
just
individually by
individually
ourselves.
by ourselves. And so like that was an interesting thing to see that like, oh wait, there's some kind of thing in the way that we are that stands out without like a lot of fanfare, like without a lot of whatever. You get on stage and you are a performer. So like you do that thing, but I'm not a performer. I'm a good cheerleader. Like that's what I am. I can cheer people on. I'm a good cheerleader. But each in our own way, like presence, the room presence, as well.
We all had our own little gravitational pull, and like people were constantly coming into our orbit.
Yes, yes. So highly social, highly, like a lot of fun. It was your munch. So I got to meet people in your community. That was interesting. Like the women, again, there was only one man there, right? Okay.
Two, because there
Two.
was that white-haired gentleman. Well, there were two, the blonde, platinum
Yes.
blonde one, the older gentleman, and then there was my partner,
Yes.
and then the straggler at the very end.
The very
And,
end.
yep. Okay, so there was like, but still like woman dominated, and that's pretty typical of most of these socials and most of these munches.
So yeah, that was interesting. What else was there from the weekend? We went on a hike. Got to see Danny again.
I was like, I forgot we did that.
And that was wonderful too. I like being outside. I like exploring. I like seeing different things. We saw waterfalls and we saw rapids and we saw trees and dilapidated staircases and worn out bridges. It wasn't a long hike, but like there was a lot in it for stimulus. We got to walk on a beach, and then we were on the trail. So it was different elevations and different attitudes as far as, like where we are in the wild. And it was tremendous. It was amazing to see. So thank you for sharing that with me.
Welcome to the Pacific Northwest.
So let's talk about hosting. How did you feel?
I loved it. I know you're like super concerned that I was like stressed, but you mentioned towards the end, like it was a good pace. It was a good pace. I'm proud of myself for not trying to pressure myself into doing too much. But this whole trip was planned around you. It was planned. It was planned around you. It was planned like I know her. I know what she likes. I know for every social thing she needs some time, some downtime. I had enough activities, but we were definitely like we were not on a strict schedule because there was enough time to get from one activity to the other with plenty of downtime in between. And I didn't want to rush. I didn't want to feel rushed. I adored you for checking in because you were like making sure that I didn't feel. I was like, no, we're good. This is just me.
Yeah,
This
well, like
is
I mean, like
me.
I know when I host, I feel a ton of pressure, like to make sure that everybody's having a great time. Like, so it's not, you didn't just have me, you know, like your brother was there and your friend was there and it was me and you still had business to conduct. So like, so I'm on vacation, but you had work to do as well. So like, and we did a lot. Like, so there was karaoke right off the plane. We did the hike the next day. We got our nails done. Manny Petty, that
Hmm.
woman. Sometimes I forget I have to edit myself when I'm in mixed company. I forgot that there were other people because we were alone in the salon for a while there. I forgot there were other people there when the woman came in and her daughter. I was like, I was just being me. She was laughing and I was like, oh shit, somebody's paying attention.
Yeah. And my
um,
brother, I knew that, and my brother was like pre-planned. Like he had been, the plan was for him to come here anyway this whole time. So the whole purpose of him being here was so that I could mentally check out from work. Because otherwise I would have been stressing with work, and I just knew that it was not going to be great if that was a thing. So my brother's job was quite literally was to come here and take care of me. So that I could take care of you guys.
so sweet too. The funny thing is that like you are such a force of nature. Like it's hard to imagine what your siblings are like. Like are you all like that? But no, he's very introverted. He's not like, shiny. Like but like very, very sweet, very like attentive and like good energy for a young person. I was impressed.
It's funny because with his peers, he's shiny.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with
Really?
his peers, he stands out. With us because you're my friends. With the older, he's just a little bit more reserved. I've told you a little bit of my siblings. I kind of wish that we had gotten together with the girls before you left, but it wasn't going to be on the agenda. But we're all, at least the girls, we are individually our own forces of nature. But then, like when anytime people see us together, it's different. It's like, whoa. Like when we're together, it's like triple threat. Yeah, so that was the hike, and then we had the ball the next day. Yeah, we just had the ball the next day. We didn't like, I'm glad I
No, we
didn't try to
didn't.
plan. I'm glad we didn't try to plan anything. I'm glad we didn't try to like meet anyone for lunch.
No.
Because we had time to like stop here, stop there, and grab some last minute items, and then get to the freaking hotel and spend 2 hours, 2 whole hours getting ready.
Three. We spent
Three,
3 hours getting ready. We
quite
spent 3 hours
literally.
because it was a dance
Yeah.
party. We had well, so I don't feel terrible about not dancing because we had like a little like music dance shower makeup hair thingy.
Hmm. We had plenty of time to get ready, and then Sunday. What did we do Sunday? What did we do Sunday?
Now I'm trying to remember Sunday. Like oh yeah, so Sunday we had breakfast. Well, we went out to dinner. What did we do before that? Am I missing? Am I missing time?
We had a photo shoot.
Oh, that's right.
I Wow,
No,
Yolanda.
well, like
I'm
okay,
kidding.
okay. Well, okay. You know why? You know why? Because ball and the photo shoot kind of like meld together for me. Like they're kind of like because we went to so there was a photo shoot. The photo shoot. Yes, that was wild too because I've never posed for pictures. I've never, like I avoid the camera. Like that is Yolanda's disposition is to run and hide from the camera. I need attention.
Wow.
I need attention. Either I'm holding the camera or I am actively not looking forward. So I alerted our lovely photographer who is enamored with you. I was like, that man is in love. And I don't like his relationship and dynamics and everything else like that. But like
I think
there isn't
in this case, it would be considered muse. I am his muse,
yes. Yes.
or
It
at least
was
one of his favorite muses.
yes, adoration, quite literally, like, like whatever. Like, yes, we had a model, and you gave most, like, like, I was like, okay, participating and observing, right? Like, both things, being in it, but also like looking around. So, our model was like relatively new to,
New to the scene.
so there was the model, the photographer, myself. you, and then we had a friend of yours, lovely
Hmm.
lady, joined us later.
Hmm.
But we got ready and got into our drag, and there was lighting set up. It was a whole production. Our model modeled in a mask,
A little piggy mask.
a little piggy mask. We got to be sadistic, the two of us.
A little bit. Just a tiny bit.
just
Just a tiny
just a
bit.
little bit. I got some instruction. I got some guidance in impact play. The
Did that
flogger
help
was
you?
out.
Was
Yes,
that
of
was that
course.
was that
Yes.
was that valuable to you?
You know the information is valuable to me. You know that I need, like, and I'm like, oh, I need a practice dummy. I realize the way that I'm going to set this up. Like, I have interest. If you are male, okay, this page is for the she's, the theys, and the gays. We're gonna put that up there. But if you are a cis male, be a photographer, be a practice dummy for me to practice on, be a handyman, carpenter, roofer, builder of some sort. Those are the three types of cis men that I want in my inbox. We can work something out.
Hmm.
We can work something out. But you have to be of service to me if you are a straight male of any orientation. Like I just can't. I can't. I you need to be of use to me. I've had a few interactions since our last check-in of people who want things from me without returning the favor. I have become very clear about my wants and my needs. Very clear about my wants, needs, desires. If you fall short on any of those, Venmo me. Other than that, I don't really care. I really don't care.
I was noticing just another like perpetuation and just like exacerbation of my like pet peeve. I have a pet peeve, and this is from like our upbringing, from where I grew up, right? If my elders, if my mother, if my elders, or any of my older siblings, older cousins, if any of my elders were on their feet doing something, cleaning, right? Like cooking, cleaning, washing dishes, if any of my elder feet busy, I was not allowed to sit on my ass. You better be up, you better be asking to do something, or you better be proactive and proactively doing something to contribute to the household. And so the photo shoot where the man and plus my house guest, my other house guest for the weekend was like same thing. Every time, like they had to be told what to do. And if there wasn't any direction, they would sit down and get on their phone. And that's just like that. There's something there. There's just something there. The whole like constantly disconnecting from reality, not being cognizant and observant of your surroundings, of the people you're with, and just like that's just the difference. I'm a very service oriented mind, right? So I'm just like, pay attention to everything. Are you comfortable? Are you thirsty? When was the last time you drank water? you know, like those things. And so I'm finding that, yeah, people are not wired like people are not wired like that, and I don't like it.
My thing is, and my thing right now in the moment is expressing myself, saying, no covert contracts. If I am not pleased for whatever particular reason, I'm going to let you know. If I'm pleased, like the thing is not just the negative thing, right? I've always been like this with women, but I don't think I'm this way with men. Like they're praise whores. They love to hear that they're doing a good job. So I've become very conscious of if I appreciate something that a man is doing, I will say so because they like it. They like it, right? And I think it also encourages them to continue the same behavior. Again, trainable, right? So it's not just the negative things, but I have gotten very, very vocal about, hey, I'm uncomfortable. I told your house guest, you're done. Community happens when more than three or four people get together and they have a goal. So even just eating a meal, right? How can I help?
Talking about
How
breakfast.
talking about breakfast, right? Like how can I be of help? What are my skills? What can I do? You are up cooking, get the dishes. Get make sure there's enough serving things for whatever. Some people, and this is a very like eldest daughter thing, like, like we are aware of each other. We check in with each other. We ask, how can we help? That's what we do. And it's a default thing. It's a natural thing. Dude. Like as if. And so it's very, and I'm very appreciative of people, regardless of gender, that make me feel comfortable, make my life easier. So I will let you know. But I've gotten very, very vocal about, hey, you're messing up, or I need you to, or could you not? I didn't feel like I had that agency with your friend because that's your friend. It's not like, yeah, I know you don't want to claim them, but that's your friend. I tempered that, but I did get my digs in. Like no, you're not going to behave like this. Like you have to be cognizant of the fact that there are three other people here, and we are in community, so you can't just do what you want when you want. Like
Hmm.
that's not going to fly. Yeah. So no covert contracts. I've no longer. I used to be annoyed watching people and being like, don't you have any behavior? And now I'm just saying it. Now I'm just saying it. I'm saying the quiet
Hmm.
part out loud. I think that's my kink now. Saying the quiet
Yeah.
part out loud, like, this is what you're gonna do.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely like that experience with that person over the weekend just continues to show like the light on how we're raised because my little brother was also here for the weekend. He was cooking for us. He's happy to cook for us. He wanted to cook for us. And so all three of us, we were in the kitchen, like doing this thing, get coffee ready, getting our drinks ready, getting dishes out, whatever. And who was on the phone, calling, texting, and eating the bacon without even like any thought, not any thought about anyone outside of him.
Would have continued to eat every last bit of it
Hmm.
if I hadn't said anything. Like,
Hmm.
like if
And
I
that
hadn't
and
said
that
anything.
to and that to me is like you've never had to take care of your siblings. You've never had to take care of anyone in your life. you know, you quite literally. And this is you got to see like a completely different demographic of men because my brother was the baby brother. I remember I told you I was like, I am incredibly proud of who he is.
My brother's the baby as well. But if you put him to task to help in something that he's strong in, organizational, cleaning, like if it's a strength, he will shine in that, but also can participate and hold his own in a conversation with older people, younger people, whatever, what have you. So to be both socially conscious, and I had a job, right? Had a designation for the weekend. I was very, very impressed. I was like, okay, there's hope. There's hope.
They're
Um,
out there.
they're
Um,
out there.
completely, totally unrelated, and we'll talk about it another time. So moving on to our Monday. Monday was a rainy day. It was a gloomy day. It was a wet day, so we didn't get to do anything outside. But what did we do?
We went to an island. We took ferry rides, spent some beach time with Danny, went swimming. We went to the bookstore, and like that's heaven for
Yeah.
me. Heaven for
Yeah,
me. I
so
can I can
that was me like floundering around in my head. I was like, what can we do? What can we do? Go to the bookstore. Like
it was
I
awesome.
like that we had that in common.
Yes, yes. We read. Had Chinese, and then it was massage
Straight to
time.
massage.
Yes, we had our
Yeah,
couples
straight to
massage.
massage.
Yes,
Oh, that was wonderful. I
it
was a little
was.
sad when it was over and I had to move
I
because
was like,
I just wanted to sleep. Like, can I just hire a personal masseuse to come do that to me and then leave me alone so I can sleep? But that was wonderful. So that was nice. So our Monday, our last day was very low key.
low key, chill, quiet, introspective. As I said before, I had a blast. I was happy to be there. I did not feel stressed. You are an amazing host. You said you talked a little bit about your desire to do this professionally. You've got it. If like I was a little worried that you were stressed out, like, like not stressed out, but like I think you were worried that I wasn't having a good time. I was having the time of my life. I was having a great time. Like highlight after highlight after highlight after highlight. You are very, very good at this. Let's build your business. Let's build your
Yay!
business. let's like you can do this. You can take people on exploration. You can teach class. You can teach people. Like I mean, you train dogs. Like, and I find that so impressive. The command, the discipline, the attitude that you take with problematic animals and problematic owners. The discernment. There are things that you have to stand firm in, and then there are things that you let go. Watching you make those judgments in real time, impress. This should be your job. If this is what you want. If this is what you want, if you want to host people on their kink journeys, do the tourism thing, do the tour thing, do the periods of instruction. Yeah, you can do this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hmm.
Because we've talked about it. Like, I want to host little retreats. I want, like little things. Wellness, like there's something there. So that's definitely something in the works. Well, I don't know, but that's something in the back burner, in the back of my mind for whenever I am ready to dive into it.
Yeah,
So for
but I
right
had
now,
an amazing weekend, and I know the work that went into it. I appreciate you having me and spending time and letting me into like it. Like the funny thing is that like intimacy. We talk about intimacy and attach it to sex, but there are so many different types of intimacies, right? And friendship intimacy comes through sometimes, like like can you travel with this person? Can you hang with this person? It's one thing to do distance. It's one thing to do the phone. It's one thing to text. It's one thing to follow each other on Instagram. It's another thing to share time, like protracted time, like move from place to place, agree on food, and being cognizant of, quite literally, I needed Monday to be exactly the way Monday was, flow, because we've done all of this high tempo stuff, like highly social stuff, and I know it's all over, like like the introverts, it's all over TikTok and the internet and Instagram about how much you have in your social battery, and how much you have to give. It takes a lot out of me. I can be the life of the party. I can be the center of attention. Like now I know it might be a little bit of a craving. It might be a little bit of a craving, right? But I also was running on empty. I was like, I cannot, like does not function. So the fact that it was a quiet day, it was a day that we could spend time in silence. We had books. We read our books at dinner. like,
that and that was not on purpose at all whatsoever.
no,
It was just the mood that I was in.
yeah.
So like, and it was also my excuse to get our other house guest to just like disconnect from his phone and just slow your thoughts down and read a book. Shh, read a book. Put your phone away.
I was enthralled with my hostess. I was enthralled with Seattle's lovely.
Thank you.
Seattle's
Thank you.
lovely.
It's
I
what
know.
I like. Most people don't have great things to say because the only thing they can say about Seattle is the weather, quite literally. You'll also hear what we call the Seattle freeze, and I've never personally experienced it, but the Seattle freeze is like the iciness of people. Like they don't look you in the eye, they don't like talk to you. But I also understand that every individual's lived experience is completely different from mine. I'm kind of like our house guest that weekend. Like I can be extroverted. I can initiate conversation. I'm not afraid to initiate conversation, and I've never had an issue with people reciprocating. So I very much abide by the whole like you create your own reality, right? Like you create the vibe that you want and you create the atmosphere that you want. So I abide from that. But I also understand that I am privileged with looking the way that I am. Because that matters. That matters.
Because I didn't like, well, but then again, the company that you keep, right? But we had that time on the streets. Me and S had that time on the streets. You had to work that day. You had to work Friday.
Hmm.
So we had time and we were walking the streets. But again, extremely extroverted, and me, I can tap on extroversion when I need to. So we had ourselves. We went to a leather shop. We went to a leather shop,
Did you
and
did
I
you
was a
like
little.
it?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it, but it was geared towards men. So it was like men's gear. So the assignment was buy chaps We went and bought chaps for your friend. I ended up buying a harness and suspenders, leather, all
Ooh.
handmade. Oh, I didn't get to show you them. Well, we'll see
Mm.
them on the show. You'll see them on the show. But also surprised at the price. Because if you go to a woman's retailer, 3 times as much for the same harness. I was like, oh, I need to shop menswear. I need to
Hmm.
shop the menswear, the markup, the pink take for the same exact thing. Same structure, same rings, less material for women. Why are we paying 3 times as much? Because I've seen these things online, handmade. The seamstress was in the back, tooling and retooling.
Doghouse leathers.
They'll do adjustments for you. I wish I was local. They'll do adjustments for you. Most of it's handmade. The seamstress was lovely. We got to have a little conversation with her. The funny thing is, he was going to walk out of there without getting the chaps adjusted. I was like, you need a hem, sir. So I was like, you need a hem, sir. Yeah, trying them on was also a little bit of an adventure. I don't know if he told you or not,
No. Where did he try it on? Did they have a dressing room?
but he didn't want to take, like, I was like, take 3 sizes in there. He's like, I can't tell if I'm a large, extra large, or double X. Take it to the dressing room. Like, take it to the dressing room, try it on.
Did you guys get a chance to like walk around before you came back?
Yeah, we stopped in a coffee shop, had a lovely conversation with the owner there. We like there was an old school video game place, Pokemon cards and Magic the Gathering cards. So like an old school gamer
Hmm.
slash board game place that we went to. So we spent some time there, and we had lunch. We had noodles. So that was our afternoon. I don't remember the name of the neighborhood, but it's a funky little neighborhood with funky little shops. You know,
Yeah.
interesting
No.
people. Yes.
And I was working.
Yeah.
So I was just like super glad that you guys were able to occupy yourselves. Occupy yourselves and learn
No, I
about
had a
each
great
other.
afternoon. I know. Oh, yeah. So, so like the funny thing is, as much I'm a conversationalist. I like having conversations. Like I like talking to people. So like, and if you sit with me for lunch, okay. So this is the difference between me being in a group setting and me being one on one. I have rules. You're not going to be on your phone. Wasn't on this phone. Like you're going to pay attention. We're going to have a back and forth. I'm going to get to know you. Hopefully you're interested enough in me to get to know me. That didn't happen. It was very much a one-way conversation, but but we did talk about like lifestyle things and the scene things. So like we had a little we took the test that nobody likes, but the kink test. It's a good party favor, okay? If you want to take it. So we took that to find out what his orientation was.
These men who spend time, and I'm sure women are too, I don't know, but I don't get to see that. So, like, these men who spend enough time in the online hookup culture, like in the online hookup culture, in the Tinder hookup culture, for whatever reason, like, get into this false sense of they think they can pull women. No.
But yeah, so any last thoughts?
No, I'm just super glad that you guys came over and that you enjoyed your weekend.
Thank you
Um,
so much. Thank you
I
so
th
much.
I think I did a pretty good job taking you into consideration, your tastes into consideration, your interests into consideration, and quite literally planned a whole weekend around that. And the best part about it is we share those interests. We
Yes,
share those things, and I like
I
that.
know. I know. No, it was amazing. And like, we have to like well, what did we say we were gonna do? New Zealand and New Zealand and you have
New
to come up.
York.
Yeah, you have to come up this way, my little neck of the woods, because we can do a lot of the same things. Plus, we can do all of the things. We can do wine tasting. We can do orchard. We can do. There's a scene up here, but I'm not. We can do that in the city. We can go. We can take the train into the city and act
Take
within
the
the
train into
city.
the city. I know how to take the metro.
Yes.
I
I'm not sure of the kink spaces here yet. Like I haven't been to anything formal. I've just done the this was my first event. So like I've not been to any of the play spaces here. I've been invited, but I've baby steps. Baby steps.
need to find yourself a good event partner or
Yes.
event couple, somebody to go to with these things. I hope you, as the audience, enjoyed our episode tonight. And if you have any thoughts, any input, if you disagree with some of the things we said, please feel free to share. Email your thoughts in, comment down below, leave a comment, and we'll read them. So thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Good night.